evening, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to the uh always iffy night after guest on this stream. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm your host of A Flawed Man of God. I am a flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary, not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, just in the word daily, trying to do it better in each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong, but no matter what, if you're listening to my voice, if you're hearing me on this stream, watching this show, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is we are discussing. So if you're somebody who's new to Christianity, if you are somebody who is looking to become a Christian, if you are looking for the motivation you need, you want to, you feel that there's something missing and you want to believe, and you just needs a little bit extra outside push to get you there. And so you've looked on the internet, somehow you've landed here. Let me just get it out of the way. The spoiler alert, pro tip, call it what you will. You don't have to watch any of this show if all you're looking for is the motivation. Here it is. You're on the right track. If you are seeking Jesus, you are doing the right thing. You are going where you need to go. So keep it up. Let me be the big encouragement, or let me be some of the encouragement that you were looking for. And there's more encouragement out there for you. But if this is what you're looking for, which is a very casual and relaxed layperson stream talking about the faith so that you can learn more about it, learn more about the word, learn more about what it's like to be a Christian. At least what we're like, we're no different. We're humans too, right? We just differences in what we believe in versus the rest of the world. But you're more than welcome here. I get it. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of scripted, professional, contrived, whatever content out there that you could be consuming, but it doesn't feel as real to you. And maybe you're worried about listening to a pastor because you feel that it must be some sort of conflict of interest. It's not, but I can see that as an outsider's perspective that might be your worry. Maybe you don't want to hear it from the pulpit. Maybe just the guy sitting in the pew next to you can say, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. This is what it's meant for me. This is what it can mean for you. This is what God will do for you. And this is what whether your faith can take you. If that's what you're looking for, well, pull up a chair, get comfortable, and tune in. Right? If you're already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussion, welcome as well. We run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's all small group oriented. We've got a nice little community here. It's not big, right? I'm not a huge channel. We got 500 subscribers. We hit hardly any of it. We do not have 500 regulars or anywhere close to that tuning in. But we get enough that it's generally healthy conversation. We'd love you to be part of that as well. So, regardless of whether you are, just seeking Christ right now, and next to nothing, you just know that you know that this should be where you need to be. This is where you want to be. Or you've been a Christian longer than me. You're more mature in your faith than I am, more knowledgeable, or somewhere in between, guys. Get in the chat. Be part of this show. The chat is a great group of folks who tune in and night out and contribute. It's an awesome part of this show. It's an integral part of this show, I think. They make it better. again, I'd love for you to be part of that. So please, please, if you want to know how, just talk. What do you agree with, or what do you disagree with? Where do you think I'm right, and where do you think I'm wrong? What unique perspective or insight or experience do you have that you think you could add to the conversation for us to consider? Or maybe you just want to add on to something somebody else said. Share your opinion. Ask questions. I might not have the answer to them, but we can talk about it. And if not, maybe somebody in the chat will know, or we can point you in the right direction. With that said, let's get to it. Thank you, everybody who tuned in last night and commented. I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody. I know I was mainly focusing on a new visitor, new member of the chat, because um, I wanted them to feel welcome, and you guys were doing great. I guess I should add that and maybe encourage you guys, since folks like y'all are generally in here most of the time, is when I've got a guest on, do y'all's best. This would be helpful for me. Do y'all's best to keep the conversation running. Ask what if you've got a question, ask. But understand that I try to give as much time to the guest as possible, and I love the fact that the chat's moving. Um, but if you guys can help, just move the conversation internally as well. That way, people don't feel like they're being ignored. You guys, and I don't want you guys to feel like you're ignored, but um, for the most part, you guys know the landscape on guest appearances. Even though I haven't done that many over the last year, I've done Keith, and I've done just recently Michael coming in last night. I've still got other folks that I want to bring on, and I got some guests that need to return. So, Alias first in the chat, in Dresden's honor first. Amen to that. Love Dresden. Hoping he's catching this on the replay. And if you are Dresden, we're all out there thinking of you and wishing you well. And hopefully you will at some point be able to sometimes find your way to the chat. But yes, Carl, and love always number 2. That's not true. That's not true. You're not poo to me, Carl. Welcome. And Jason Jackson, because no, I don't know you, Carl. Don't know if I want to. Figure out lighten the load. Show is good. Thank you. I like, and I checked out. He had a podcast this morning, and it sounded very similar to what we talked about. And he had a co-host on there. So they read the back end of that card that we were talking about. And apparently the backside of that card had a lot of other stuff, but at the bottom, other things that were describing the church. And at the bottom, it said, the last thing it said was anti-woke. When it said anti-woke, his co-host immediately goes, nice. But we were talking about, they were talking about, the appropriateness of, how into things do you want that to be when you're advertising and trying to get people to join. And they said your church should be anti-woke, but are you, how are you bringing that in? Anyway, that was a good show. Like I said, and I'm going through the documentaries. I'm still working through the Joel Osteen video, but I really highly recommend them. The Andy Stanley one really showed me the difference between the Andy Stanley that I think a lot of my my fellows respected versus the Andy Stanley that kind of that greatly worries me and concerns me that I see speaking nowadays. Because look, I grew up when I grew up in the church, but I didn't grow up surrounded by a lot of the peripherals behind that. I didn't, when purpose driven life was big, I wasn't reading it. When uh what was the other one? The Left Behind series was going on. I didn't read it. A lot of these different and when a lot of these folks were talking and coming in rising, the Rick Warrens and the Andy Stanleys, um, when these folks were becoming big and popular, I wasn't aware of them. I went to sermons. I sat in the sermons, listened to sermons on Sunday, and I listened to the message. And I was in Sunday school learning about now the Sunday school as a younger kid was great. The Sunday school at the second church I went to were just there wasn't much there wasn't much content sometimes. I had a couple of very good Sunday school teachers when I was in elementary school, um, and then in middle school, but the other side of the high school and middle school is just lacking a great deal. Um, so I didn't see any of this other stuff, so I didn't get to see all that. So all I see is Andy Stanley. We've heard some stuff from him, and then the next thing I know, when I like, what's the big deal about this? Unhitching from the Bible. Whoa, that sounds or unhitching from the Old Testament. Whoa, that's not a direction we want to go in. And some other things that he has said. Um, Michael does a very good job kind of illustrating where he thinks Stanley's pivot point was. I'll let you guys know. It was it's very interesting to see because again, I go back and listen to Andy Stanley in 2000, right? When I'm 17 years old, this is a guy I can get behind. Andy Stanley 2023, 2024, completely different tone, completely different. It seems like a completely different theology. So I love the background. I love the build up. I think he does a very good job. He's not A&E. He doesn't have the resources of somebody like A&E, the guys who used to do biography. If 90s kids know what I'm talking about, A&E biography or the biography channel or whatever, they know it's up there. But he does an excellent job, and I think that it's I like it well curated, and I want him to keep doing it. Love that, like I said, love to see one on Jerry Falwell. Love to see one on Copeland. On really like to see one on some other just figures that people know, like Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty, or folks like that. Not necessarily controversial people that are problematic, but controversial people that are just controversial because they have opinions again they go against the world. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I appreciated his comments. Love to have him back on here, but I'm also I'm bad at getting guys to come back on the show. So, all right. Matt Felty has wandered has fought his way in here. Not necessarily wandered or stumbled on here. He has fought his way on here because he has got a cold and a sore throat. That sucks. Are you at that stage, man, where you're like, I feel like I've forgotten what it was like to breathe normally? What am I? How how did I ever breathe normally? How did I ever feel good? That's how I get when I get hay fever and my seasonal allergies. Sitting there is completely stopped up. I can't stop blowing my nose. Congestion headache, and I'm sitting there going, "What was it?" Feel like Gollum when he goes, "We forgot the taste of bread." I'm sitting there, I forgot what it was like to breathe like a normal human being. Yeah, I hate that, buddy. So, get well soon. I know that's a first world problems, but still problems. Help you feel better. Um, so again, Late putting this whole show together, but and that's mostly because I've just been it's tough. It's tough on a night where, like I said, I'm kind of spooled up after after having a guest on. Don't know why. I just maybe it's because my mind's moving a little bit more. Um, I'm excited because I have a guest on the show or whatever, but it's hard for me to wind down after a show when I've had a guest, and usually that means I'm a little bit exhausted in the next day. Then you add work onto that, and it's just whew, it's kind of a grind. So we're gonna try to do this and give the word as much as it deserves. So, all right, where were we at last? I think it was 25. We finished. The way that seems right to man and appears straight before him, but the end of the way is death. I think that was the last one we did. So let's get on 26. Proverbs 16, verse 26. The appetite of a worker works for him, for his hunger urges him on. The appetite of a worker works for him, for his hunger urges him on. Desire, right? Um, you don't want to really forget the taste of bread. You are um in these days, especially the days that this was written in, um, you don't want to go hungry. The idea of going without is a motivating factor and works for you. You got to get out of bed in the morning. Why? Bills got to get paid. You got that cell phone, or more importantly, you got that mortgage payment, you got that rent payment, electricity got to get paid for, S- streaming services and whatever internet connection you get, those got bills, lots of things. Oh, also, you got to eat, food bills, gasoline, or diesel if you've got a diesel vehicle, or electric if you're like Blaine, weirdo. Um, but necessities, necessities drive you to get your work done, and conveniences drive you. Vacations, stuff for yourself. Space Marine 2 is coming out in less than a month. That's a motivating factor for me. I wonder if I should I wonder if I should start a Twitch channel, and which I think I already actually have a Twitch account. Start a Twitch channel, it can't Twitch channel, and me and my buddy playing Space Marine 2, and all we do is talk like Space Marines in a Christian in a Christian way. Oh, birds the unclean. I know Emmanuel Osorio would appreciate that. But getting back to the topic, worthless. Wait, not a worthless man. Appetite. So, what is your appetite? So we know you get up and go to work. Most of us do anyway. Most of you guys are getting up to work. The motivation there, you got what you need. You got to pay for it. It's not free. What's your appetite for salvation? You want it? It works. Your desire for salvation, to be saved, to be forgiven, does that urge you on to do as the Lord instructs? Do you have a desire to love God? And as a result, you have an appetite and a drive to do his will, to please him? To bring more souls? I hope so. I hope so. This get so you can get up and go to church. You can get up and volunteer for church. You can get up and pray, get up and do things for your fellow man. Get up and fix your vices. Work on yourself. And some of the things I used to talk about in my opening, lean on other people in your congregation, in your circle of brothers and sisters in Christ. Lean on them and be somebody they can lean on. Is there a hunger for that? This isn't just a real world. This isn't just a worldly thing here. This isn't just actually being hungry. I have to eat. I have to work so because I have to eat. And I'm not saying that this is not a works-based thing. Um, but faith brings forth this desire to do what God wants. That's why I say this argument of faith versus faith and works or faith alone and all this arguing, stop worrying about it. If you're faithful, if you really have faith, you're doing things. You're doing things. Short and sweet, but with a lot of meaning, just like many of these proverbs and the idea of proverbs in general. A worthless man, this is 27, verse 27. A worthless man devises and digs up evil, and the words on his lips are like a scorching fire. Yeah. Scheming, lying liar who lies. Tries to stir up trouble for trouble's sake. The words on his lips are like a scorching fire. Don't be anywhere near him. And this is more worrying about the dangers of these folks. Identifying who they are. Hopefully you're not one of them, but you could be. If so, change. Right? You're not too far gone. If you are, change. But it's kind of a note. I guess identifying in yourself, but also mostly looking out for these folks that you're going to run into. If there's somebody who acts like this, stay out of their way. You don't want to get caught up in this. It can be bad. It's not worth it. Mark and avoid. And there are folks out there in your community, in places in social media that you travel, that they are a firestorm. They are a whirlwind of trouble. Give them a wide berth. Don't deal with them unless you absolutely have to. Because you don't want to get caught up in whatever it is that's going on. 28. A perverse man spreads strife, and one who gossips separates intimate friends. Picking up on a theme here. We've got the worthless man, a perverse man, a gossip. Let's go ahead and put 29 in here. A violent and exceedingly covetous man entices his neighbor to sin and leads him in a way that is not good. So we got a worthless man, a perverse man, a gossip, a violent man, and a jealous man. Or maybe not jealous. envious, envious man. Go on to 30. Sly man, sly guy. So let's read these all together. We'll start with 27. We just caught up. A worthless man devises and digs up evil, and the words of his lips are like a scorching fire. A perverse man spreads strife, and one who gossips separates intimate friends. A violent and exceedingly covetous man entices his neighbor to sin and leads him in a way that is not good. He who is slyly, he who slyly winks his eye does not. Let me start this over again. He who slyly winks his eyes does so to plot perverse things, and he who compresses his lips as if in a secret signal brings evil to pass. What do we see here? Deceitful, evil, envious folks, vices that have come to define these people's personalities. And some of it describes us. And like I said, that should be a mark and a warning to you that you need to fix the problem. Maybe you're already working on it. But this is something that you need to but these are things where you really need to check yourself out on, as far as step back, check on how you're behaving on almost all of your interactions. Because if you are digging up evil and scheming and plotting, that's a very intentional and malicious act. You don't necessarily attribute that to somebody who is struggling with a temptation. Whereas you can see that maybe with jealousy. Jealousy is something that we strive to avoid. Violence, quick to anger, people who are rageaholics, people who are angry all the time, um, and feel tempted when their blood is up, cool themselves off. Those are things that, you know, they can be intentionally malicious. Sometimes it's just our emotions getting the better of us, but there's still things that you got to check. But these are also things that we look for in the folks around us, the folks that we are friends with, the folks that we worship with, the folks that we do business. Did I say do business with already? Do business with, interact with. Our family members. These are folks that maybe you're close enough to them that you need to help them or advise them and do help them in whatever capacity you are able to. If there is intent, malicious intent, um, behind this identity of these folks, that they usually in my experience, that's not something you can just um show them and they go, oh, it's something that they're doing on purposefully doing. And they've either convinced themselves they're right or they don't care. And generally takes a significant emotional event in their life, in their experience, to change them. And if that's what the point is behind all of these descriptions, they love that they're violent. They don't care that they're jealous. Greed is good. Perversities are fun, satisfying. And I like to I like to undercut my fellow man as much as possible. These are folks you need to stay away from, at least when this is the headspace that they are in. It is not it is not worth you ruining yourself pursuing um not worth you ruining yourself trying to save somebody who has no interest in being saved. Be ready for them, be available to them when they do have that significant emotional event, that point where they change. Pray for them. But none of this what's described is stuff that you want to be um stuff that you want to be caught up in. You don't want somebody digging up evil on you. You don't want to be caught in the crosshairs of whatever they have to say or the gossip or be encouraged to sin, be encouraged to fall into your to have your own problems. It's not worth it. You have trust me, you probably have enough of your own problems as it is without them without them adding to it. And maybe you're in a good season of your life. Stay in that good season as long as possible. Don't let them shorten it for you. Y'all are quiet tonight. Y'all are quiet, which is fine because I'm kind of done. No, let's try. So we moved through those pretty fast, and we only have 3 more proverbs to go through in 16. So let's see if we can round out 16. Since those guys, this has been pretty cool that that we've had chunks of proverbs all go together. Matt really must not be feeling well though, because he is usually one of our more talkative chat members, and I just I we love or me and anyway, speaking for myself, love hearing his opinions on this. Whether I agree with him or not, um, he comes by his thoughts honestly. I do brag on you guys here on this show, uh, to y'all to let you guys know. I do pay attention to y'all's personality as well, as much as possible, as much as I know. And the more you talk, the more I kind of get a feel for it, and the longer you're here. Some of y'all are in mostly just to listen, but y'all want to say hi. Carl's a lot like that. Interacts a very little bit. Lets us know he's here. Hey, comment here and there. He's good, right? Matt Felty. Hey, let me show you some scripture that might apply to this. Do this. That's him. It's nice that we have different facets and personalities in that. Like I said, uh, I appreciate that. All right, let's move on to 31 then. The silver-haired head is a crown of splendor and glory. It is found in the way of righteousness. Silver-haired head is a crown of splendor and glory. Is this anti-bald people? Is this anti-balding? Is this big hair lobbying for uh lobbying for the Lord? A silver-haired head is the crown of splendor. You know who's not based, apparently, after reading this? Just for Men. Just for Men, mark and avoid. Silver-haired head is a crown of splendor and glory. It is found in the way of righteousness. It's a mark that your age does impart wisdom. That doesn't make you wise. It doesn't make you righteous. But odds are you are more wise than you were when you were younger. Odds are you are walking better in your path. You are walking more diligently with Christ than you were in your past. Why? Because you've gotten older. You've slowed down. You've made your mistakes. You've learned your lessons. You've matured. You have married, and your spouse has helped you come to calm yourself, right yourself. Kids, the burden of that, the change in mindset, these things that you experience change, and it oftentimes makes you better. And it also means that we should appreciate folks that they have wisdom, that they have gained wisdom in their life. And that might be a just a signal to folks that, hey, I'm not some 20-year-old shooting off at the mouth. And that's nothing to say against folks like Christian Mario or Yex and some of our younger guys that we know or that are in the chat. A lot of times we're impressed just by how wise you already are and how what that means, how much how high you can rise, where your ceiling is at. That's exciting to see. Awesome to see. Joyful. Those of us in our 40s were like, man, the 30s, we've heard it before. Your 30s is where a lot of times that it comes together. All comes together. People are respecting you more. You're coming into your own. That's your coming of age, coming into your prime decade. I'm past that now. Man, I'm glad for it. What a great 10 years I had from 30 to 39. And I'm still getting great years now. When I go to bed at night, I thank God for all the blessings he's going to put on me. Um, because they're helping me grow and they're helping making me wiser. All right. But I'm not gray yet. I got some when I was very young, I was like platinum blonde. I still see some platinum blonde hairs here and there every once in a while, but no gray, no silver. He who is slow to anger, woof. I mean, he who is slow to anger is better and more honorable than the mighty soldier. And he who rules and controls his own spirit than he who captures a city. Yes. You may do great things in the name of God, conquer lands, set up cities, do these things. But who you are outside of that is defining as well. And more important, slow to anger, which means you're not, you're using that discernment, that discretion that's important that we've been hearing about all throughout, uh, all throughout Proverbs. You've had control over your emotions. You're not reckless. You're not putting at risk what has been gained. And slow to anger, controlling your own spirit makes you a better warrior. allows you to do more in the name of the Lord. Last one for 16. The lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord. Oh, great. It's the same. It's the same in both. The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. I don't know what this means. Matt, blow your nose. Give me some insights. Chat, what are y'all thinking? The lot is cast. Here we go. Oh, it got a footnote to it. This is the reason why the casting of lots was sanctioned in Israel for certain cases of decision making. It was understood that the outcomes were controlled by God, and the seemingly random procedure eliminated human influence. Oh, rolling dice. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. There you go. Jason coming in with the save. Rolling dice. Rolling for a save. Yeah, I'm a nerd. The last time the ritual is mentioned in the Bible is in the choice of Matthias to replace Judas, Acts 1 through 26. Many believe that the filling of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost in Acts 2 officially put an end to the ritual because it was then replaced by the direct guidance of the Spirit. It was never sanctioned or recommended as a way to determine God's will in personal decision making. Well, there you have it. I'm going to roll the dice. It's up to the Lord. What? Thad, welcome to the show. At the end of it, towards the end of it, what? Are you saying it's a Jewish thing? Because all I see is Jewish I Ching. Sounds like a typo, buddy. There it is. You can cast lots. And leave it to God. Oh, Ching Book of Chinese Sayings. You roll sticks and look up a saying. What? I Ching? We're rolling dice, though. Didn't you see what Jason said earlier? I think there's more to God's influence and decision making than just when we leave it to him and lot casting. But I don't think that's really what this proverb is saying. But this proverb is very basic, I think, and very simple in that there's nothing is left to chance. It's all in God's hands. It's a good way to end the chapter. Good way to end the night, guys. Short stream, but good. Let me give me a little bit more time to wind down and maybe catch up on some rest. But yeah, nice little group though. This was excellent. 16's Proverbs 16's full of it, and we have had lots of content as a result, and lots of discussions. So Thad, Jason, Alias, Carl, Matthew. I think I said Alias already. Short group, small group this morning or this evening. Jeez, how tired am I? Small group this evening, but no less quality. Only quantity. Thank you for you guys. Thank you for what y'all bring to the show. Thank you for contributing. Get some sleep. Yeah, thanks, Carl. And what I'm going to do is going to chill here, play a little bit of Starfield, rewatch the Reds game that's been playing where we swept the Cardinals. Yeah. And yeah, probably pass out in this chair. All right, y'all. Y'all have y'all are great. And let me also thank the guys and the gals who are listening to the show, not in the chat, even though I encourage it. I understand. May not want to, may not be able to, but I appreciate you nonetheless. And I'm glad that you're finding something that you keep continually come back to. If you are, and to those of you who are catching this on replay, thank you for watching. I'm sorry I missed you. I hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody, have a good night. God bless.